So, once again, you're all going to get a chance to do your reads in here. And listen, if some of you might walk in here and say, look, man, I want to be buried behind the scenes as far as you can possibly put me. Put me behind a camera, let me work the teleprompter, show me how to do production. You know what I say? Get over it, all right? Make yourself as marketable as possible. If you're totally freaked out about getting in front of a microphone, take on a different persona. Be a rock star, be a movie star, be your grandmother. I don't care. We just want to see how you react in front of the microphones. And Studio B also has everything that Studio A has. Prep show computer, on-air computer, Adobe Audition for editing, Quick Pix Media Touch for your music programming, dual mini disc player, dual CD player, have a seat anywhere you want, sir, dual cassette player, state-of-the-art microphones, and remember, once again, state-of-the-art equipment, really important. Now, some of you, when you walked in here, you walked past our TV studio. Has anybody ever read from a teleprompter? No? Good. You're all going to get a chance to do that tonight. We have a full-blown television studio. A lot of times it's not as neat and clean as it is tonight because our students produce their own television shows, but they were gracious enough to know that we have guests tonight. But you're going to learn everything on the television side, in front of the cameras and behind the scenes. Because if you don't work in this industry now, believe me, there's so many great opportunities that arise in this industry that if you have the skills, you can apply for them. And the reason that we ask you to learn everything is because one day maybe you're working a video shoot, maybe one day you're filling in at a radio station, you're board opping, you're utilizing your skills. Believe me, keep your passion. If you decide that you want to come here because you want to be the next great VJ, on MTV, or you want to be a film producer or a production person, you'll get where you need to go. But I say keep an open mind, make yourself as marketable as possible. But you're all going to get a chance to read from a teleprompter today. We have a CG in there, a teleprompter, a switcher, everything that you need in a television control room, and you'll get to see that later. Now, on the television side, if you can write, shoot, and produce, you're going to work really fast in this industry. Now, on the television side, we teach two non-linear systems, which one is called Avid Express and one is called Final Cut Pro. Now, non-linear, it's telling stories with pictures, all right? Does anybody watch baseball? Does anybody watch soap operas? Does anybody watch film? Chances are it's been edited on one of those two systems. The toughest thing that we teach here is Final Cut Pro and Avid. And I urge everyone, fall in love with it. Not everyone has a talent to tell stories, believe me, but you'll see that gentleman back there that's running the camera is a producer. His name's Matt Golub. He's a producer at MLB.com, and they have about 40 editors over there, and about 30 of them came out of this school and came out of the Westbury School. Why? Their instructor is a producer there. Where do you think he's going to go for his editors, right? He's going to go for people that he taught, and he showed them how to put together a proper demo tape. That's how it works in this industry. I believe in nepotism. It works, believe me. You'll get to meet Matt and talk to him later. We have two other radio studios. One is a production studio. When you put together a sports radio demo, or you put together a voiceover demo, or you put together a production demo, does anyone know what production means on the audio side? You know when you listen to a station, right? And whether it's an urban station or an oldie station, the feel. When someone's not talking, that's production. When you hear commercials, when you hear the call letters and the imaging of the station, that's a great job in this industry. We'll show you how, maybe that'll be your calling. We'll show you how to put together a proper demo. But a production demo should be done in a production studio. And the only difference between the studio in regards to the equipment is we have what's called a Mackie board. And a Mackie board is higher quality sound. When Marty is over here, he works at B103 and K-Joy and Sirius XM radio. When he's in a studio, he's using a radio system board like that. But when he's preparing for a show, he's doing all his production on what's called a Mackie board. You'll get to see that later. So we have 4 different radio studios. We have a digital editing suite, and we have a television studio. Now, halfway through this program, we allow you to do an internship. Can anybody tell me what an internship is? Young man.
It's when you go to someone else's radio or TV and you
Okay, that somewhat. Anybody else? Sir?
That's when you go to a radio station or a TV station, like this young gentleman said, you like work there for free to get the experience.
What's with the free? Basically, you get your foot in the door to prove yourself, right? Now, halfway through this program, you can walk into a radio station, you can walk into a television station, you can walk into a production house, and you can be a necessity to that organization. I'll give you an example. Let's say I don't have any skills and I started Connecticut School of Broadcasting on November 9th and I set up an internship for myself, right? And I walk in there the first day and they shake my hand and they say to me, "Hi, nice to meet you," right? If you get that much, because you'll realize that everyone in this industry wears a million hats and they're always on deadline, right? And they say, "Look, Marty, nice to meet you. Look, I got this 60-second radio spots. The levels are all over the place. I need you to cut it down to a 30. I want you to put a new music bed underneath it. I want you to re-record it. And guess what, Marty? We need to get it on the air in 20 minutes. And I'm like, whoa, can somebody show me how to do it? And they say to me, "No. Do you know how to stuff envelopes, Marty? Because that's what you can do at this station." And you probably shot yourself in the foot. But halfway through, you can walk into a radio station and this stuff is not new to you. You can walk into a television station, you can operate a camera, a CG, a switcher, you can be a floor manager, you can do digital editing. So, the same scenario. I have skills and I walk into that same radio station and they say to me, "Hey, nice to meet you. Listen, Marty, I got this 60-second radio commercial. The levels are all over the place. I want you to cut it down to a 30. I need you to re-record it. I want you to voice it. I want you to put a music bed." And I'm like, "No problem, I'll have it for you." You know what happens? Bang, a light goes off in their head. And they challenge me and they give me more to do and they give me more to do. And who do you think they're gonna hire when there's an opportunity at that station? Me, the guy that came in a half hour early, stayed a half hour later, knew what he was doing, didn't have to have his hand held. That's how you get ahead in this industry. But internships are time consuming. Listen, if you're going to school here 4 days a week, plus you're putting in 4 to 6 hours studio time, or you're going to school 2 nights a week, and you're working a full-time job, it doesn't leave you a lot of time. Believe me, you never want to take on too much. You never want to affect your money job, obviously. You certainly don't want to miss class here. You don't want to affect your studio time. But if something comes across your desk and we start discussing it, like if you had an opportunity to work at a station, where would it be? Sorry to put you on the spot. Pardon me? News One. If something was available and you thought you can do it and fit it into your schedule, make it happen. Because good things happen when you get your foot in the door. But as I said, you don't have to do an internship halfway through. If you can fit it in, it's only going to be valuable to you. But if you think, you know what, I'm going to wait until I'm done, you can always do an internship when you're done with the program. Because when you're done with the program, guess what? The work really does begin. Because now after 8 or 16 grueling weeks, you have all these great skills. What are you going to do with them, right? Well, the first thing you do here is you graduate. And let me tell you, graduation at this school is a celebration, all right? Because after 8 or 16 weeks, some people have jobs lined up, some people have internships lined up, some people know exactly what they want to do in this industry. Plus, some of these people are going to be friends with you the rest of your life. You're all thrown in this together. Nobody comes here because they've worked in this industry for 25 years. That's not going to benefit them. It's people like yourself that are looking for a change in life or have a passion for radio and television. And you know what? You graduate and you celebrate, and then 24 hours later, it's time to get serious. You're right back in here the next day. You're going to meet with your core instructors. You're going to meet with your career counselor, myself, and we're going to put a game plan together for you. We're going to finalize your resume. We're going to finalize your cover letter. Because in any industry, you do need those things to get your foot in the door. And let me tell you something. After 8 or 16 weeks, you have a lot to put on your resume. Most of you who come here, your resume is like this. But by the time you leave, you've worked on 2 different digital editing systems, you've made radio commercials, you've created sports shows, talk shows. You have a nice resume to start. But if you ever want to get to the next level in this industry, and we talked about it the first minute you walked in here, what do you need? Experience will help immensely. What's that thing that the program director listens to or watches?
Demo.
A demo tape, right? Exactly. And the next week, right after you graduate, all your demo workshops are set up. Your first one is radio, and that's what Party Marty will go over with you. Maybe after 8 or 16 weeks, you fell in love with being a radio personality. Well, does anyone think it's as easy as putting your voice on a CD and mailing it to a program director? Of course it's not. You have to know how to, if you're right for that format, what kind of production values, can you handle calls, you know, can you come in and out of breaks? Obviously a lot of stuff that is going like this over your head right now, but everything is compacted into 2.5 minutes of your best work, right? And we'll show you the proper way of putting together a radio demo, whether it's for an AC format, a CHR format, an oldies format, a country format, which is Marty's favorite, you know, a classic rock, a rock, and ultimately, the more demos you have, the better chance and more marketable you are. Now, you might decide after 8 or 16 weeks that you didn't love being in front of the microphone, but that you really fell in love with the production side. When I said before, when you listen to the radio and you don't hear an on-air personality talking, that's production. You think those people that get those production jobs that make commercials and imaging pieces for the station, do you think those jobs are just handed to them? No. Marty will show you how to put together a production demo. Then we're marketing it, you're marketing it, and that's how you get a job in this industry. Your next demo workshop is voiceovers. Maybe you do different characters. Maybe you do different accents. If that's the case, we'll show you the proper way of putting together a voiceover demo. Does anyone know what a voiceover artist does? Oh, for the game? Right? Was it just handed to you, or did you have a demo?
My friend created them, and he created the game, and he called me up and kind of, you know, said I wanted to come in. And didn't realize it was going to be like 2 hours long, and it was going to be like a big character, but I just thought it was going to be like a couple sentences.
Maybe that was your first step into the broadcast.
But I was like, am I getting paid for this? He's like, no, put it on your reel.
Meanwhile, you didn't know what he was talking about. Well, listen, the voiceover industry is exploded for our graduates, because nowadays, in the old days, and we have great relationships with all the different voiceover production houses in New York City. They know our students, they know us. We forged those relationships. But nowadays, it's so easy. The client just emails you the copy, right? You go into one of these studios here, you go in, you produce it, you MP3 it to the client, and bang, the check is in the mail and you're on to the next job. But you're never going to get a job like that unless you have a voiceover demo. And we'll show you the proper way of putting together a voiceover demo. On the television side, if you want to be a field reporter, whether you want to cover hard news, or you want to be like a VJ for, you know, VH1 or MTV, or you want to be a sports reporter, you have to show that you can take our field cameras out, you go shoot your footage, you do your stand-up, you show that you can interview people, you go into the television studio and you do your anchoring. Because when you're starting out in this industry as a reporter, you have to show that you can anchor and that you can report. And then you put 2 or 3 packages like that together, and you go into the Final Cut studios or the Avid studios, and you add all your bells and whistles in, and you edit it, and you edit for hours and hours and hours. Because when you're talking about demos, hey, it's got to be your best work. This is the place where, for 8 or 16 weeks, where you grow and you're allowed to make mistakes. Party Marty will tell you later, he's been a program director in this industry. If he hears a demo and you know what, there's breathing off, or the levels are off, or he's watching a demo and the lighting is wrong, or people are flubbing their words, I don't care if he gets another demo from that person 6 months later. Once again, he still remembers the crap that they sent them earlier, right? Remember, demos are what's going to sell you in this industry. Now, you might decide that you didn't love being in front of the camera, but that you fell in love with the production side, digital editing. Well, if you want to be a digital editor, you still have to show that you can go out and shoot a story and edit it. And we'll show you the proper way of putting together a production demo. Your next demo workshop is sports demos. Maybe you met someone in class and you have a great idea for a sports show. Or maybe you want to put together a 1-minute update demo or a play-by-play demo. Those of you that are sports fans know if you ever want to get on the air, you got to have a demo, right? And we'll show you the proper way of putting together a demo. Now, we also have another demo workshop for news. Does anybody get their traffic reports from News 12 or Shadow Traffic? Well, guess what? You probably heard one of the Connecticut School of Broadcasting's graduates. Why? Because some of our key instructors here and in Long Island are the key traffic reporters for Shadow Traffic and News 12. And let me tell you, working for News 12, Cablevision, or Shadow Traffic, that's a great gig. They pay great, they have flexible hours, they have full benefits, and we have a way of getting you in there. But you know what? You're not getting in there without putting together a proper demo, and we'll show you how to put together a proper demo. Now look, I don't want anyone to think that you have to have a demo to be successful in this industry. As a graduate, we're constantly sending you out different opportunities. We're on the phones every day. My career counselor and I, we build up relationships. We know where the jobs are. So there's plenty of great opportunities. But if you ever want to be a player and get to the next level in this industry, a demo is what's going to sell you. All right? Now, I'm going to go over 2 more things, and I promise everyone I'm going to be quiet. We're going to watch a short video, and then we're going to get into the studios and have some fun. When we opened this school 17 years ago, 2 things were really important to us. Who in God's name are we going to get to teach here, and how am I going to get people jobs? I'll start with jobs. I got on the phone with every single program director, music director, internship coordinator within an 80-mile radius, right? And the great thing about being associated with a school that's run by Dick Robinson, that's been around since 1964, is that everybody in this industry knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that graduated Connecticut School of Broadcasting. And I said, look, I'm opening up this school in Westbury, I'm opening up this school in Hasbrouck Heights, I want to start placing people. And guess what? Luckily for me, many of the people that I spoke to were CSB grads. And they know that our students come out where they don't have to have their hands held. They're ready to work in this industry. So now, 17 years later here, we're placing almost 70% of the people that walk out of here. And I'm not surprised by that because our students are prepared to work in this industry. And the other reason is our instructors. We receive resumes every week from anybody and anybody that works in this industry, and they want to teach at a school like this. 2 things are really important if you're going to be an instructor here. You darn well better be working in this industry right now, and you better have great contacts. Because part of the reason I hire instructors here is they have the ability of getting you jobs in this industry. Very important. I mean, the last thing that you want to do is invest your heart, your soul, your time, and have someone up here spewing war stories about how radio used to be 10 years. I think we've already decided that it changes daily, right? The technology changes daily. So we have people like Roger Wall, who was an on-air personality for Fox Television and a producer. Obviously, Marty Mitchell, 30 years in the industry. You hear him on B103, you hear him on KJoy, you hear him on Sirius XM. He's also a digital editor for MLB.com. Matt Golub back here is an editor for and a producer for MLB.com. We have Joe Spano, who is going to take you through your radio reads. He's an on-air personality for Sirius Satellite Radio. Michael Billy has his own show on Sirius Satellite Radio. We have Dave LeGrecker, who's a producer for Sirius Satellite Radio. These are the people that we have here. People that have reached great levels for themselves in this industry, but want to give back to an industry that's been great to them. So I thank you for listening to me. We're going to watch a short video, then I'm going to introduce all my instructors and we'll get you into the studios, okay?